Hey everyone, Django Fett here. So it's time for my final list for this year. I've already done two other lists for my TV shows and movies when it comes to the best and the worst. And now we're going to go into the video games of 2023, my favorite video games. And before we get into my top 10, I have to give some honorable mentions before we get into them. But please be sure to check out my other previous top lists if you haven't already. I'll put links in the description down below. So this is not in any particular order, so I'm going to start off with the honorable mentions. First one being Spider-Man Remastered, just a masterful port on Steam, and I can't wait for Spider-Man 2 to come out for eventually on there. But Spider-Man Remastered, fantastic on Steam. The next is another remaster, and that is Metroid Prime Remastered. I never thought the day we would see another Metroid Prime game, but here it is, and it's actually pretty good. Just like the original, and you know, all its glory on there. I still need to finish it, but I had a blast with it when replaying it, and I still need to finish it eventually. Next is Everspace 2. This is on Xbox Game Pass. This came out a couple years ago, I think, but it's on Xbox Game Pass. I played it for free, and it's a fun starship simulation game. And you just go around the galaxy and do different quests and trade and all this other stuff, and you can buy different ships, and has better space combat than another on my list, which I'll get to. Next is SteamWorld Build. I really wanted to put this on my list, but I just couldn't. But I had a really good time with this city sim game made by the folks at SteamWorld. This is their next big SteamWorld game, and it's a city sim game. It's actually really good. I played it a couple of times, had a blast. I can't wait for more updates for this game in the future, and can't wait for more SteamWorld games in general. And the last honorable mention is Starfield. Yes, Starfield. So initially, I had a love-hate relationship with this game, but now it's become a like-hate relationship with the game. Yes, to that extent that it's now a like-hate. And there were some things that I liked about it. They're the quests and, some things with the game. But there's a lot of things that I absolutely fucking hate with this game. And the design choices with this. And it just shows that Bethesda just doesn't have what it takes to do open world games anymore. Not since Skyrim, which was absolutely legendary. And Fallout 4 was, good. But it didn't have that legendary scale that, Skyrim or Fallout 3. They just been down. It hasn't been the same for Bethesda, and they just haven't been doing anything, worthwhile when it comes to open world games. So this is just easily just one of the biggest disappointments of this year. I expected a little bit more, but at the same time, I didn't know what to expect because I thought it would be a broken mess. Fortunately, it wasn't a broken mess, but it was still a buggy and just a pretty mid experience for me. But honestly, it's, thinking about it now, it's just becoming just a bore just to think about. And I don't feel like I really want to replay it again. Usually I want to replay these games with mods and to see how it is. But now even modders want to stay far away from this game, which shows a lot for just but this game alone. So those were the honorable mentions. Now let's get into the top 10 games, not in any particular order. First one is Vampire Survivors. Just coming out with DLC this year. The game came out last year, was a big success. This year it had I think 2 or 3 DLCs. Really fantastic. The latest one was Among Us, and that is fantastic. I love the Among Us DLC that it came up with it, and all the different characters and unlockables. And I can't wait to just keep playing this game. And I think they're going to have a TV show or something down the road, which is on Netflix. That shows how successful this game was. And there's just so many different copycats of this game that nothing can beat the original game. Nothing. And it has really cheap DLC, $2 or $3. And the original game is only $4 or $5 or something like that. So definitely worth picking up this game, buying all the DLC. And it's just a fun romp. It's just really, really fun. And I can't wait to see what other DLC they have in store in the future. So next is Symphony of War: The Nephilim Saga. So this game came out last year. I ended up playing it earlier this year. Then I actually ended up playing it again later in the year because I was waiting for the DLC. And I, played it both times. Had a blast with this. And so this is tactical game, much akin to Fire Emblem, the old school Fire Emblem games, which they just don't seem to be going to that old formula. But you know, Symphony of War brings that old school flavor with a really great story, really fun characters, and different classes you can pick and choose, and customizing your different units within that. And the DLC adds so much more. You replay the game again, get a bunch of chapters, additional units, and it's just so much fun. You can add so much time. I think I put like 40, 50 hours into it. It's a lot of fun, and they just announced that they're going to have a sequel to this game, which is going to be, oh, that's awesome. I love hearing that, especially from an indie studio. And this is an indie studio that is providing updates on the regular basis and just putting more and more love to the game. And I love to see that when they put more passion and love into the game on a regular basis, and especially on the initial release, they want to put out a perfect product, and which they did. Now we get into the AAA games. First one is Resident Evil 4 Remake. You know, I thought this would be good, but I didn't think it would be able to touch the original, and it really didn't. In many ways, I think it's better, and I also think it's not as better than the original for me. So I do think the original is better than the remake, but remake is still a lot of fun. It captures the essence of the original game, and it also has some new DLC, which I haven't played yet. I do want to play that. You play as Ada Wong, and in the game, actually, the remake, Ada Wong was pretty boring and flat for me. I was really disappointed how they portrayed her in here, but I heard the DLC actually adds a lot to her and actually makes her more of an interesting character. So I can't wait to play that once again. And Resident Evil 4 Remake is just a lot of fun. Just a great remake overall. Next is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So I have a love-hate relationship with this game. I absolutely love everything about this game when it comes to how much it improves upon the original. Original is really good, really solid game, but this one improves on everything. The story, the gameplay, the levels, the just everything you can think of, they improve upon. The different missions you do, the different planets you visit, the Metroidvania aspect, especially with the main planet Koba, I don't remember the name. That world, and just going back and getting new tech stuff to go back to these different places and replay those again to unlock those different areas and get more secrets. You know, it's incredibly replayable in that aspect. And Jedi Survivor is just masterful in that aspect. With that said, what the hate aspect is the performance on PC. It was just absolutely abhorrent. They had to put so many patches to this game, and it's still fucking broken. It's still stuttering like a motherfucker. And they're probably not going to be able to fix this game at all. I mean, I think the first game had this issue too, and then they still haven't fixed it. So I don't expect the same thing to happen with this game when it comes to PC, with a lot of stuttering that happens in this game that really hampered the experience. So it's a damn shame for all that Respawn did with this game. And now it's just going to be remembered as this broken and buggy mess that people are going to be like, the third game, they're going to be watchful for. They're going to be really hesitant about it because it's probably going to have the same issues. If they don't fix this shit and if they rush it again, they're just going to ruin the game once again. So I do think that ruined sales initially when this came out. So I do think there was probably a lot of returns. I think there's returns for EA. I don't remember. But I do think it hampered that. But it's still a really great game. There was so much great about it. It could have been higher on my list, but unfortunately, due to the amount of issues, still to this fucking day, it ruins it. And that's all it will be remembered for, unfortunately. Next is an underrated title, is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. So finally, we have a Jet Set Radio spiritual successor created by people who have no affiliation with Jet Set Radio, but they just have a passion with it. The previous games, it has their art style is very much akin to Jet Set Radio, but I love Jet Set Radio. That is my shit, okay? I love it with a passion. And now you have some, having a really good story, a really good fucking story with an awesome soundtrack, easily the best soundtrack of this year for any video game for me. The soundtrack is just absolutely blasting. It's a fucking amazing. and I had to buy this as as soon as possible after getting the game. It was that fucking good. Very much akin to Jet Set Radio Future, that amazing soundtrack, and they just one up that with this soundtrack. So the music is phenomenal. The gameplay, the tricks and the combos that you do, and just the story. Oh my god, there was so much fucking great about this. I hope they put more updates to this game because it released on a great state, no issues. I do want some more updates, putting some more things to the game, more DLC down the road, big, maps and stuff like that to add to it, and I'll come back to it for sure. So it's definitely worth your time and money to invest into this game because it's so fucking awesome, and it's probably going to be a while since we'll probably get Jet Set Radio, the actual sequel down the road, since that was announced just recently. Not too long ago. So we'll see what Capcom, or I think it's Capcom or Sega, have done with Jet Set Radio and how it compares to even Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, because now that is the cream of the crop right there. Next is the Dead Space remake. So I was really surprised with this one, and I think it's even better than the original. It is that fucking good that even having the voice to your character and adding so much to the game, I think it ones up it in every way. And I think this is a better remake than Resident Evil 4, in my opinion. And it's fucking terrifying. I haven't played Dead Space 1 in a while, and I remember just being absolutely scared with the game. But this one is even scarier, and it just gave me fucking nightmares just to think about, of how much, the things that happen and the things that jump at you. And how fucking dark. I had to increase the brightness a little just because of how fucking scared I was playing this game and the things that pop up and shit. This is the best horror game of this year for sure. This is how you do a remake. And fucking EA and Motive. Motive is just building up a fucking resume with their games. With the, I think, Star Wars Squadrons and now Dead Space remake. I think they're doing some great things now. And so we'll see what they do in the future. I'm definitely going to be looking out for other Motive stuff. And maybe it'd be nice to see Dead Space 2 down the road. It's going to be hard to do that because Dead Space 2 is even better than Dead Space 1. Probably the best of the Dead Space series, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see how they approach that. If they ever do that down the road, it's going to be hard to beat that remake for sure, if they ever do that. So next is Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. It took them like 4 or 5 years, but finally we can say Cyberpunk is in a good state, and this is how it should have been released in. But unfortunately, they released it in a broken and buggy state, and yeah. But now Phantom Liberty comes out. This epic DLC adds a great story that I think even ones up the original story. And I remember really enjoying the story for Cyberpunk 2077, but I think Phantom Liberty ones up that of how good that was. So I played it once. There's 2 endings, and I want to replay it again to get that other ending and to see how it happens there. Because it's Idris Elba, and the performance he does, especially the others too, is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. The story is very much akin to something like Blade Runner, or even better than that, to be honest. It's just so fucking good, the story. And the new, I think, Dogtown that you explore, the updated version of Dogtown, is amazing to behold. So many missions, and I haven't even touched this game since the original release, and I still remember enjoying it despite the many flaws with the game. But now it's in a good state. Phantom Liberty comes out, and it's absolutely worth playing. It is just absolutely amazing. The amount of content that you get, and the story is just, absolutely amazing. Next is Jusant. So this is a game that I never thought I would put this on my list at all. But the more I saw this, I was like, okay, let me try this out myself. And it's basically a indie climbing game where it's just, your character doesn't talk, but you're just, you're ascending this world, you're finding out the story behind it, and you're just climbing. You're just climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. It's very much akin to something like Journey or Abzu or things like that, where it's just very atmospheric, and it's just like your character doesn't talk, and your surrounding environment tells the story for you. And as you explore, you find out more and more things. But I thought it was just a brilliant indie game, and I want to see more of this down the road. And I think and it's done by the guys who did Life is Strange. And I remember liking Life is Strange. I thought it was very unique at the time, even better than Telltale for what it was. But after that, I just didn't really care. But if this is the direction they want to go with these games, with like something different and something like Jusant, I am all for that. I love these atmospheric, no talking games, and this one is just another just brilliant type of game where it's something different. You're not just wonking and you're just kind of seeing what's going on. You're climbing, and I never thought I would see a climbing simulator actually be engaging and fun to play as, but this is one of those games. Now let's get into my top 2. So these are easily just like number 2 and then number 1. So coming in at number 2 is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So after playing this game, I was ready to put this. This was game of the year for me. There was nothing that could beat anything for me. After playing it, I was like, this is game of the year. There's nothing that's going to be able to top this. And unfortunately, number 1 comes out and beats that. I mean, they were this close, Legend of Zelda. I mean, the Nintendo getting number 1 for me, and I think for everybody else. Still think this is not the best Legend of Zelda game. I think it's better than Breath of the Wild. It just takes that formula and makes it bigger and better. Much akin to like Jedi Survivor takes it better than Fallen Order. But this one, it takes that same formula, Tears of the Kingdom, and makes it better with Breath of the Wild. So this is how you do a fucking open world game. Not this same old Ubisoft shit. And even though I would wanted to put like another Ubisoft game on my list, I just couldn't. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom shows how it's fucking done. Nintendo shows how it's fucking done. And I would love to see open world games much akin to this. How it's just, this is how you fucking do it, man, with the mission structure and the exploration, and just not only was it just the land area, but you actually explore underground and above. And it was just so much to fucking explore and to unlock in the game and the story. And I can't wait to see what Nintendo does with their next big Legend of Zelda game. It should be interesting. And coming in at number 1, this one beat Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I didn't think anything would beat this at the time. But then Baldur's Gate 3 comes out and beats that and trumps that. And I was hearing so many great things about this game. So many great things that I ended up buying this full price, $60. I had no problem with that. I bought this and I played it and I had a fucking blast. This is just Dungeons and Dragons goodness. I've never played any of the other Baldur's Gate games. I played Larian Studios' other game, Divinity Original Sin 2, which was really good. This one is just an absolutely legendary game. It combines a lot of aspects of, the BioWare games with the role-playing aspect, with the Mass Effect, Knights of the Old Republic games, with a more realistic Dungeons and Dragons scenario where your roll of the dice matters through every action and move that you do. And there's so much customization with your characters, and I ended up playing this game twice. First as Paladin, and the second time I think as, I don't remember the second class if I had to be honest. I think it was Paladin again. I loved Paladin so much. But I replayed it a second time with mods, and it adds so much. I can't wait to play this a third time to explore other things that happen. And going back to the BioWare point is that they do more choices and dialogue choices that I've ever seen in any fucking game. Every choice fucking matters. And it's so varied from what I've seen with any other RPG ever. It easily trumps anything BioWare has done in the past. And every choice fucking matters. Every decision matters. And you have to be careful on how you approach things. You can't just be going gung-ho. You have to be pragmatic in many ways. Balancing the good and the bad to get the best outcome and the best ending. I love the role playing and I love the combat. The combat was absolutely incredible. I do wish I had to get a mod for this, because just having 4 characters fight at one point is just not enough for me. I needed more. So I unlocked a mod, and it just made the game so much fucking better. It made it so much easier, but it was just so much fun to just play with the other characters at the same time and seeing them interact, on these specific choices or on the dialogue stuff, because you can only have 3 other characters at one time. And if you don't have that certain character, you're going to miss out on some other things. So I did miss out on quite a bit in the first playthrough, but in the second playthrough, it did, balance it out. So the story is absolutely incredible. The gameplay is fantastic. The graphics are fucking amazing. I mean, everybody's putting this on the list, and I have to put it on my list as well. And I put over, let's see, oh boy, almost 200 hours. Usually, the first playthrough I went through, it was 100 hours. Second playthrough, close to another 100 hours. And that's how much I love fucking this game so much. I couldn't replay it again right after, but I had to give it a break and then, install some mods. And it just adds so much to the game. And the game is already legendary without any mods. And then you add mods to the mix, and it's just, perfection. So easily game of the year for me, without a doubt. There's nothing that can touch this. And it's easily 10 out of 10, man. It's that fucking good. And it'll be remembered for years to come. And I can't wait to see what Larian Studios has for, their future games. Maybe DLC for Baldur's Gate 3, a big expansion. Or, maybe a Divinity Original Sin, I think 3? I think that would be their next title, I think. But we'll see what Larian Studios does. But now, everybody's looking out for Larian. They've done a phenomenal job. They sold so much, and rightfully so. This is how you make a fucking game nowadays. Not this AAA garbage with Starfield and all this other nonsense. This is how you fucking do it. With dedication, passion, and love. And thanks to the Kickstarter, which was 6 years or something. And then they released the game. And it's just an absolute great state. It did have some bugs, I must say, in the beginning. And they have been putting regular updates to fix the game. But there were some bugs in the beginning, but I think it's all been, taken care of for the most part. So let me know your top 10, your favorite games of 2023 are in the comment section below. I am curious to hear your thoughts as well. Don't forget to please like this video, comment down below, subscribe to my channel, Django Fett, if you haven't already, and I'll see you, my fellow Mandoy, my little brothers and sisters, next time. Ooh, yeah.